Hi guys, and welcome to my very first video for YouTube. Some of the guys I've been hanging out with during on the model sites and such have suggested that I should do some videoing of the stuff that I make and my little tips and techniques. This is not by means the be all and end all. So let's get started. Right, in front of you is a little diorama I've been making over the past couple of weeks. It's 176. And I want to put a tree on it, a couple of trees and some water. Now, I've never done water before, so I'll do a little video of that and how I'll mess it up. Right, but today's main one is I'm going to show you how I make a pine tree. Now I've made pine trees for bigger models like 135 and such, so I'll just go through that and show you how I do it and see whether anyone else can learn something or improve on it, which is great. So without further ado, I'll get into that right now. Right then, what we need to assemble the tree. First of all, I bought this. This is coconut mat. They use it for lining out baskets, hanging baskets and such. It's quite cheap. You can get it in B&Q, in garden centres. I actually got this one from the pound shop, which is quite good for me because, you know, it's cheap. Right, then we're going to need a pair of scissors, a pokey stick for making holes through the centre, and super glue. Right, the reason I use super glue is because I can't wait for it to dry. I'm too impatient. A lot of people use white glue. I mean, by no means this is my design or anything like that. This is just basically an improvement on an idea I've heard from someone else and seen from someone else. Right, so that's the tools we're going to need, and let's start. First of all, we're going to need to cut our matting. And it is quite tough to cut. So what I tend to do is maybe split it down a few times until I get sort of something like that which is manageable. Then I'll cut a chunk off. I'll just put this to one side for one moment. Right, then we've got a piece like this. What we want to do now is start to form the branches for the tree. First of all, some people actually do it, cut a circle and then thread it out like that. Some people cut a circle and cut like chevrons in it all the way around. What I tend to do, I find it easier for me. It might not be easy for you, but I'd give it a go anyway. What I tend to do, I start off with varying sizes and I cut something like that. Basically, that's all it is. Just cut it into shapes like that, and then we tease them out until it's like thinned out. That one that one there is maybe too thin, so we'll put that to one side. And this is what we have. That's the shape we need. So from that stage, we then take it up to the next stage, cutting all the various sizes that we need for the tree. As you can see, it starts off with the bigger ones on the bottom and slowly tapers up to the top. Now we need a twig or something like this. Just if you can get one that's thin at the top and thick at the bottom and tapers, that's great. First of all, we need to do is remove all these. So we get our cutters or nippers, and basically we just nip it off. Try and take the buds off as well. It makes it easier for getting the cork matting over. The coconut mat. So we take them off. Oops, I'm shooting them into your face, and there we go. We have our tree, the beginnings of our tree. And what we need to do now is support this. Some people use big pieces of foam. I happen to have, basically I have a little clamp set up on my bench. I use this for painting figures, a lot of things. It's really useful. Right, what we do is we tighten it in. Like so. make sure it's secure, and then we take our biggest piece. And what we want to do, we need to tease it out. It can be a little bit tough at first. I mean, my fingers are a little bit sore because I made a few today. We just keep pulling out, as you can see. So basically what we want to do, we want to break up that cut edge, the sharp cut edge here, see, and just make it more loose. And so your eye doesn't actually immediately go to the cut edge when you've actually got it on your tree. So we get it basically something to this stage here, like that. And then what we need to do, we need to get a tool. I use this, it's a dentist tool. You can use screwdrivers and such. Oh, another thing as well, like so these pieces here, see these thick dark pieces and chunks, we need to remove them. They don't look right when it's on the tree. So we get our tool, we push it into the center and push it in and try and make a reasonable size hole to fit the girth of your trunk. As you can see, we have the hole. And what we do then, let's move the camera a little bit more. Oh, they should see some trees in the background I've already made. Basically, we get it on and we pull it all the way down to roughly to the start of the branches and such, as you see. Now, this is where the super glue comes in. If we get the right one, we use the super glue and we just put a tiny little dab on it like that and bring it back up and give it a little pinch, a little hold there, and that now means you can work constantly on the tree now. And then what we do, we go through our stages of sizes here, doing exactly the same thing, splitting them apart like so. And as you see, you can get one or two, and then we tease them out the same as before. Oh, not shot there, sorry. Tease them out and we put the hole in again. And basically what we're doing is, I'll just get this on the top and drag it down. And basically what we want to try and do, we want to try and stagger the points of our cut branches roughly around like that. And basically we could progress all the way up using the size that we cut, because if you cut these initially in the beginning to the sizes you need, obviously like I said, to the width of the tree, going to the top, tapering in, then you can just work on it constantly. Sometimes when you have to stop and recut them and do them, or things like that, it gets a little bit tedious. So on to the next stage, bear with me. Right, now we're at this stage. Once we finish doing all the tree, putting it all on, all the coconut mat on, what we do is then we look at it and we think to ourselves, right, there's bits sticking out there that I don't really like. So we go in, I use these big scissors, but you're probably better a little, and just start to shape it, taking all the really sticky out bits that you don't really want. And as you can see, it doesn't look much now at this stage. You just think, oh goodness, it looks a bit rough. It does look rough, yeah. Well, that's not the magic of it. That's just basically getting the formation of the branches. Now, after this stage, we end up going to this stage, where the tree is like basically at the stage where you want it green and such, and it's starting to look good. We spray it green. That helps the keep everything stuck into place. The magic of that is you've got nothing showing through. Like on this one, I'm still in the middle of spraying it. As you can see, all the green is sprayed into the center, so you can't really see anything in the center. And then I start formally pulling it out, all the green out, and bringing it round so it's completely painted up fully to that. And then the stage after that, once we've got it to that stage, we then use a static grass. Now the static grass actually produces the needles. I don't know if you can see this properly, but if you can see the static grass. So it actually looks like the pine needles of the pine tree. And that'll be the finished stage. Obviously the trees you want to make can be any size. This is a little one for the 176 diorama I was telling you about, and this is for a 135th. So you can see. I mean, you could use this in 135 as well as a small tree, you know, small growth. And basically, that's how I do my trees. Right, now it's time to add the static grass to our tree. We've actually got it to this stage where we've sprayed it and it's ready to put the static grass on. Now, I've covered it with the bark, the trunk rather, with paper, just to stop the glue from going all over it and to stop the grass from basically sticking to it. What we do next, we actually get our glue. This is actually PVA glue or wood glue, and I've added a little tiny little bit of isopropanol alcohol just so it gets into everywhere. It helps it absorbs the glue more better. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to pause this, I'm going to go and spray, and then we'll come back with the grass. Okay. Right, I completely soaked the tree. I've added my static grass to the grass box. Basically the next thing to do is to attach the probe, one end of the probe, just bear with me, to our tree, like so, and we're ready to go. I've actually sieved the grass on because it comes out in clumps otherwise, and if you sieve it out, there's no clumps. So that's a little tip. Another big tip as well, when you're using a static grass or any static applicator, a pair of gloves, because these do have a tendency, if you make contact, accidentally contact, of getting a bit of a jump, a little bit of a shock. It doesn't hurt, but it's just give you a bit of a shock. So without further ado, let's make the grass happen. Right, it's on, and I'm starting to turn the tree nice and slow, back and forth. As you see, the grass is getting attached to it all, and you'll just have to go up and down, around, and you'll see it takes a lot of grass, but it does actually come on. I didn't have the dark coloured grass, and then I left this like everything else. I run out of the darker stuff, and here we go. It's starting to come together. Here we go. Just turn that off so I don't get static. Take the lid off. Oh, sorry, my shot. And there we have our pine tree. I'm actually, I don't know, I'm gonna have to spray it because it's a bit light for my liking. But as you can get the gist of it all now, it's there. So you just tease things up, you know, like so there, when it's settled down a bit onto it, just separate them a little bit, like so. And there you go. One pine tree made with static grass, cork matting and a twig. I hope you enjoyed this. Bye. I hope you understood all the things I've said, and because I'm a scouser and things like that, and I talk a little bit fast. But this is my first video and I'm a little bit nervous, so I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching. If there's any questions or comments, please add them, and if you want to subscribe and give me a thumbs up, then that'd be cool. The next thing I'll probably be videoing is the water, like I said. Never done water before, so we'll all be learning it together. The product I'm going to use for the water, it's called Easy Water, and we'll see it when we get to it. Anyway, thanks a lot guys for watching. Hope you enjoy. Bye.